urban renewal. Okay. The executive session for the Aurora Urban Renewal Authority for Monday, April 22nd, 2024 is called to order. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Mayor, let me transition over to the executive session.
Mayor, I'll motion to move into executive.
Well, don't we do that after we call the roll?
Hang on, she's got to start
I have
the,
to transition.
she's got, yeah, we've got to.
She needed that motion.
Okay, it's been moved by Mayor Pro Tem, seconded by Commissioner Savani, seconded by Commissioner Coombs to go into executive session. I can't. the study session of the Aurora City Council for Monday, April 22nd, 2024. It's called to order. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Mayor Kaufman.
Here.
Councilmember Bergen. Here. Councilmember Coombs.
Present.
Councilmember Gardner. Councilmember Hancock.
Present.
Councilmember Drinsky.
Here.
Councilmember Lawson. Here. Councilmember Medina.
Here.
Councilmember Murillo. Councilmember Sundberg.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Zavonic.
Here.
There's no mayor updates. Are there any issue updates? Seeing none, question before us is the approval or to move forward with the consent calendar, item number 2A through 2D. Is there any objection? Seeing none, that will move forward. Item number 3A, Visitor Committee report for April. Liz Rogers.
Thank you, Mayor. Hi, everyone. Liz Rogers, Intergovernmental Relations Manager. So the Advisory Committee met on April 12th and took positions on 2 legislations. You can find the summaries on page 104. The committee took an amend position on Senate Bill 24-174, Sustainable Affordable Housing Assistance, and a monitor position on Senate Bill 195, Protect Vulnerable Road Users. Happy to take any questions.
Questions for Liz Rogers? Seeing none, thank you, Liz. Let's see, item number 3B, Aurora Animal Shelter Project Reimbursement Agreement. Teresa Sedmak, City Treasurer.
Yes, good evening. At the last Saturday workshop, council discussed the need for a new animal shelter due to the overcapacity of the current facility. So this resolution, if adopted, would allow for the reimbursement of early expenditures such as engineering, planning, design of a new facility prior to the issuance of a tax-exempt bond, lease purchase agreement, or other borrowing facility. And this would be in accordance with IRS rules and regulations. I'm going to turn the mic over to Terry Velasquez for further comment. Thank you.
Thanks, Teresa. In addition to the reimbursement resolution this evening, we're also hoping to gauge the support of council with regard to moving forward with the financing of the animal shelter. And if we could get that information, that would really help us in determining our next steps with regard to funding for the animal shelter. So we would really appreciate that this evening. Thank you.
Questions of staff? Councilmember Sum. Councilmember Sum.
I forgot the timeline on this, when we could get it completed.
Yes, that's one of the things we're working through now, and as you heard, before we start doing major expenditures for engineering, for project management, and those things, we just want to make sure we're on firm footing with council to start that major expenditure of funds. So as we talked about at the winter workshop, we're planning to use the ARPA dollars that we've identified, some other funding sources to try and cash fund as much of this as we can, but ultimately we will be moving towards a debt issuance of some kind, whether those are certificates of participation or some other facility. We just want to make sure that we don't get too far down that road. One of the timelines we're looking at is this is probably a 2 to 3 year project to get it designed and built. This is from scratch, and so we are trying to move as quickly as possible. But our early indications at this point is we are probably talking at least a couple of years, probably potentially more. We would like to make that as soon as possible because, as you all have heard and many of you have seen, the current facility is certainly outdated and over capacity.
Further discussion? Mayor Pro Tem.
Yeah, so on the debt issuance, what was the number roughly?
Roberto, go ahead.
The number that we had projected in terms of the runs, but we did a range of $25 to $35 million.
And that's assuming that we get some sort of maybe cash pay down. That's
Right.
what would
We
be
would
the
put,
balance.
yeah, you decided to put $5 million in ARPA funds towards that, and we had some remaining balance of ARPA funds. And if we were to do any other contributions from other entities, have any other contributions, we would pay that down, that capital, the debt, to lower that issuance of COP.
Has there been any engagement with the counties that utilize the facility?
At this point, no, until we have figured out kind of what the scale of what we're doing. We brought an architect on. We haven't approached them at that point until we had a little bit more meat on the bone and gotten clear direction. Then we would approach the counties and figure out if there were any willingness to do so.
Okay.
Councilmember Bergen.
So on that point also, so if we identify other unspent ARPA dollars, we could add to that and reduce the debt that has to be issued.
Yes, I mean,
Yes.
all that's a policy decision. You've already allocated a good amount, but if there are other funds, capital or otherwise, ARPA or others that you wanted to put towards that, we could certainly use that to pay down the debt.
I'm missing something. Are we doing certificates of participation?
That's what was originally contemplated, is a
Okay.
certificate of participation.
Okay. Mayor Pro Tem.
Yeah, just to be clear, so I think the COPs are for whatever the balance is of what can't be found between ARPA and others.
Correct.
The balance would go to COPs. So
Okay.
my hope would be, my encouragement would be that we try to find as much of that as possible to limit the amount of the debt that's going to be used for.
Very well. Further discussion?
Oh, just one, sorry. On the COPs, based off what we currently have out there with COPs, we're in good shape to be able to issue another.
So, yeah, it's a very good question. Whenever we issue certificates of participation.
Why I say COPs.
COPs, thank you. Whenever
for
we
you to
issue,
say.
exactly, whenever we issue COPs, they do need to be backed up by assets. We would try and set this up such that the facility itself could be, that's always the best thing, but there's always an essentiality question with the banks, whether or not they consider the facility essential enough to be, that's something you can't walk away from. Typically, they like fire stations, they like things that are very governmental in nature. We would hope that this would qualify, but we'd have to have those discussions with our financing partners, but that would be our goal.
Okay. Councilmember Jernsky.
We could certainly leverage the greenhouses. We could put those up as collateral, see if they'll take that.
We will add them to the
Very
list.
close government entity.
Okay. Further discussion on item number 3B. Is there any objection to move item 3B forward? Seeing none, item 3B will move forward. Item number 3C, amending subsection subparent 3, subparent C, subparent 3 of section 2-676 of the city code pertaining to contracts and purchasing. Brian Fillinger, purchasing manager.
Yeah.
Brent.
We updated code to streamline the purchasing process, which was approved by council, but we inadvertently did not include this section. So we would like to include this section for change orders of 50,000 or more to be on the weekly report, not all change orders.
Very well. Discussion or questions of staff? Seeing none, is there any objection to move item number 3C forward? Seeing none, item 3C will move forward. Item number 5A has been pulled from the agenda by Councilmember Gardner. Seeing no further business before the Aurora City Council for our study session, meeting adjourned. See you at 6.
My brother love, baby, you